basically in our early years together, it was just my son and myself. My mum lived in Sweden and still does, although has a property here. She visited, but it was just the two of us.
Okay, our family, when Tom was very little, was quite restricted in terms of the immediate family. We lived on a farm in Wales, and my parents lived a distance away, so it was just myself and my husband, and my mum didn't get over very much, so we didn't have that immediate family support. So I felt quite isolated when I had Tom as a baby, and then when we had James, there's a 16-month gap between Tom and James. So that I found that quite stressful. I think we were quite unusual in that my husband is a lot older than me and was retired. So when I had maternity leave for both the children, he was at home as well. So I think that made a real difference in terms of the family dynamics and what Tom saw as he grew up. You know, he had a really strong male role model as well as me at home. But I went back to work when he was quite little, so at 5 months, I went back to work and his dad looked after him. But then I was on maternity leave again the year after for James, so then he had another year of me being at home.
I think William has responded to my postnatal depression. That's I'm convinced of it. That he was very much crying a lot when I was feeling the worst. But it was a learning curve when I've realised that when I felt on the days I felt really good with myself. William was awesome. He was smiling. He was friendly. And so it was a relationship between the two of us to learn how to respond positively to each other, and so well, for me, I'm not no, it's not my fault if I'm feeling awful. It's because I've got postnatal depression, but not all is bad. And so my world started with William, and it bit by bit grew around him. He's shown me how awesome life is, basically, and it started from there.
I think the question about stress is a really interesting one, because I think we were quite stressed when the boys were little. I didn't have much experience of children. I'm an only child, and I'd never had anything to do with babies, so I was highly stressed from the minute Tom was born. And my husband is not a particularly relaxed person, so I think we did have a lot of stress when the boys were little, and having them so close together as well made it quite difficult in many ways. And no, we didn't, as I say, we didn't have that close family support. We did have family support at a distance. I'm not saying we didn't, have that support at a distance, but, for example, babysitting and things like that, we didn't have that close support.
It was difficult in the early years. He didn't sleep, so it was very stressful. But we then received some funding when he turned 2, and that was a lifesaver for us. We dealt the separation, him having a break from me having a break from him, was the best thing that we had at the time, because I'd spent 24 hours a day with him since he had been born.
I've encountered some stress with William being a baby. I've had postnatal depression, and I really made a point in not projecting it onto William, basically, not to make it obvious that it was because of William that I was feeling not good. And we've been very open about it. Where sometime William would annoy me, and I would feel like I could strangle him. But in that case, I would just say, right, look, Mummy needs a quiet time. I don't feel very well, and so he would just sit and play next to me while maybe I had a snooze, or. It's been a learning curve with my husband as well, to try and pinpoint, to highlight, right, you are not feeling well, you need some time out, instead of snapping at each other. It's not your fault, you're not feeling well, go for a snooze, you'll feel better afterwards. That's kind of what we're trying to achieve anyway. And I think it's when William sort of had his tantrum, 2 years old, 3 years old tantrum, it's helped as well to say, right, why do you not feel good? Tell Mummy, why are you annoyed? Do you feel annoyed right now? Yes! Ah! Why? Calm down, just tell me with words while you're not feeling well.